Hey everyone, it's Bridget from Paper Creations. I've been going through my stamp and die stash while I've been organising things in the craft room, and I've come across a lot that I haven't actually used. This is one of them. This one is called Winter Cardinal, and it's an Altenew multi-layered stamp. Quite pretty, very easy to actually layer this one, but I'll show you how I do that in just a second. And I just wanted to sort of not buy any more stamps and just use the ones that I've got that I haven't actually used. And actually I can't say not buy any more, because that's not going to happen. So I think what I'll do is, if I see a stamp set that I like or something I like, if I can't immediately think of 3 projects that I'll make with that, I'm not going to buy it. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Anyway, this is the card we'll be making today. I haven't used a die before that cuts exactly on the edge of a project, and I struggled a little bit with that. I still ended up with a few white edges here and there because I just wasn't lining it up properly. So I'll show you how I got around that for myself. You might be perfectly fine doing it like that. I just struggled a little bit, and for me that's just practice, really. So I'll show you what I did with that. Also used, and I haven't actually used this one much at all either, and it's a Waffle Flower Stitched Layers die, and I've just used the largest one of that. And when you actually cut it out, this is what you get. So you can either use that, or you can use both, and we'll be actually using both. So what I've done is I've sort of put the border up on a bit of dimension, but I'll show you more about that in a minute. So that's what we're using. I've already cut that out actually, but that's what I've used. The other thing I've bought is another Altenew set called Happy Holidays, and I always try and keep an eye out for sort of sayings for things. I find that I just never have enough happy birthday stamps, or happy anniversary and that sort of thing. So I'm always looking out for those sort of stamps, and especially with the nice script, and I liked that one. So I bought that one as well, and haven't used it because obviously it's Christmas, and I bought it a little while ago and it wasn't Christmas then, but we'll use it today, and I'll use the season's greeting that I used on this card. The other things I'm using are some Altenew inks. I don't have 3 lots of red, so I had to improvise and add in a Stampin' Up! Red there. And I've also got the espresso for the branch, and jet black, for the embellishments on the bird, and just a few little sequins here and there to pop on, to add a little bit of extra something to the card. It's really quite an easy little card once you get the layers on the bird done. So I'll show you how I actually ended up with a perfect die cut, pretty much. You'll also actually need a card base, which is 5 3/8 by 8 1/4. It should actually be 4 3/8. Let me have a look. Oh no, it's 5 3/8. Okay, you're going to score that for 4 1/8 actually. 4 1/8, which is right there. Okay. Yep. Okay. So let's get back to what I was doing here. So the first thing you'll want to do is take your bird die and die cut him. And I've actually found this to be the easiest way for me to do this. Okay, so simple die cut, and you won't need that again. I'll run it through. So you end up with two pieces like that. So I'll put them back over here. Then I'm using the Tim Holtz stamp platform. Make a bit of room for it. Now you've probably heard this a thousand times before, but if you're using clear stamps, make sure that the bit that says clear is at the top. If I was using rubber stamps, obviously I would flip it over and have rubber on the outside, but we're using clear stamps. So it'll just go back in there like that, and we'll put that in there, pop our bird back in there. Okay, so then he's back in his little spot, and then you can start layering your stamps. So with these ones, because they're like that, I find if I look when I'm putting them down at this edge under here, I can get it fairly straight, fairly even. And on this first layer, it doesn't really matter actually too much, and I'll show you why. We'll pick him up. Yeah, see, he slipped off a little bit, but that's okay. I'll show you how to fix that. There's going to be lots of mistakes here that I'll show you how to fix today. So start with your lightest ink, as always. And it doesn't matter if it's not a perfect stamp. So just do that. Okay. Now if there's any white edges, which there are plenty, because I didn't place him right, just get your ink and just run it around the bits that you missed. Like that. Okay, there you go. And put him back in, because you haven't finished with him yet. Alright, let me just give that a clean. And we'll take our next layer. So make sure that he's in there properly. And the same thing with the next layer. Now just try and line it up so that you get the bottom bit lined up where it's meant to go. And they're a bit sticky, these new stamps, sometimes. Okay. That should be pretty good. Let's put him back in. Take your next darkest ink. And go over that again. And back in he goes. Now the more ink you get on there, the more likely he is to curl. So we're going to stick the magnet there so he doesn't move too much. So let's get the next layer out. Same thing again. So lay him on there, and this time here, see that there? There's a little indent, matches this indent here. The reason I'm taking so much time with this is I get asked a lot about how I line these stamps up and what the easiest way to do it is. So let me just make sure. I'll take him out again and put him back. Now you just want the magnet there to hold him. I'll take the next lot of ink, which is right in front of me, and this is the Stampin' Up! Real Red. It's not too different from that layer there, but it's the closest I had. So I found the cherry cobbler was just too juicy, and it just made a huge mess actually when I used it. So yeah, we'll just go with that. Alright, there we go. So now I'll give that a bit of a clean off because it's quite messy. Red ink always stains your stamps too. It doesn't matter, it doesn't affect their use or how they perform. Okay, now there's other layers that will go on, you know, that we can put on. I don't actually even know where that little bit goes that's there, and so on and so forth, but anyway, these two are next. So you've got this one, which can be a little bit tricky, but again with this edge here, that raised edge, I line it up there and there. So, and I look underneath. That's it. And this one I line up with this. See how it's sort of scalloped, this edge? I line it up with this bit here. Just make sure that your die cut is in there properly, and then lay that on. And I've moved the other one. It's alright, I'll put him back. Doesn't matter too much if you go out of the lines with this one because you've already die cut it, so it's not a big drama. Okay. Let's hope that that's pretty right. So this will be your black layer. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's just clean that all off. Okay, and to clean these I just use a damp cloth, a microfiber one, because it doesn't leave little bits behind on the stamps. Alright, so let's see what we end up with. And look at that. It's a perfectly stamped bird. No white edges, nothing. And if you did want to, you could go around here with just a Sharpie marker or something if you wanted to make it look like an absolutely perfect die cut. But that's actually, I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. So I'll put him over here. Now we haven't quite finished with this yet, so let's now bring in, I've got a bit of red on there, but that's alright. Let's bring in this. I might grab an extra magnet or two for this step because I think I'm going to need it. Okay, so now I'm going to do the branch, and I don't want it to move once I've laid it out, so we'll put that there, that there, that there, that there. Now the other thing to be aware of is that there's feet for the bird. So I want them to go probably about here. Then the bird can go, I'll move it up a bit, there, and the sentiment will go in this corner. Yep, perfect. Okay. I'll put the feet back over. So let's hope it doesn't lift up. Oh, perfect, look at that. Alright, so now we use the espresso, and this is the darkest of the browns that I've got from Altenew. Pick that up. Beautiful. Okay. I never used to have a stamp positioning tool, and then I just bought one out of curiosity one day, and I'll tell you what, I haven't actually looked back. So let's do this again now. Where's our bird? Where's our bird? Okay, here he is. Alright, so let's line him up there and make sure that this will fit here. Good job. I think that'll work really well. Okay. Yep. Oh, now I've moved it. It shouldn't matter anyway. Okay. Black. Black, 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 black. I just need to make sure that it's still in the right spot. And we can actually stamp these both in this, you know, in one go. Should be alright, let's hope. A bit more ink on his feet. Oh, perfect. Okay. There's a bit of a clean. Alright. So now the stamping side of things is done. Get rid of this other magnet. Okay. I have lots of magnets because I tend to break them. Don't know how, but I do. Alright, so now we're done with that, so that can sit over there. Alright, so let's get our little bits and pieces. So now this will fit on here. Exactly. And this will fit inside. So what I'll do is I'll put some glue on the back of this, because I'll put it in there before I do anything else, so that it's so that I know it's, you know, going to be straight. So make sure that this is lined up either side. And we will pop that in there. There we go. Okay, so then you can take this off, because we'll work on this bit now. So with the bird, I decided that he would be popped up on some dimensionals. If I can lay my hands on them right here. Just to add a little bit of extra height to that centerpiece. And we're almost done with this now. Won't take much longer at all. So you'll go out there, just like that. Now I thought that I could add some little sequins into the design. I'm not going to use too many because I don't want it to take over what I'm doing. So it'll just be a couple of little ones, maybe in here. Down here. And another black one. Right there. And one more red one just here. There we go. So now we get to put the border around the outside. Now this is a little tricky, but we'll see how we go. So what I do is I'll actually stick this on here rather than on the actual frame, because I think somehow that it'll work a little bit easier. I struggle with this. I didn't use it like this last time. I used it slightly different. So then we want a little piece that goes here and another piece that goes on this side. Okay, and we'll pull all these off and we'll see how we go putting it on there nice and straight. I have a feeling that my measurements are just a little bit out on this side, but we'll see. We shall see. So I start here and just lay it that way, and then go round that way and down there. And there we have a finished card. It was probably harder than it should have been, but I actually enjoyed making it. And would I do it differently next time? Probably not. I'd probably do it exactly the same. But I'm pretty sure I'll get better at the whole, you know, die cutting thing after you've stamped him and all the rest of it, which would make things a lot quicker too. But I'm actually really pleased with how this turned out. So as always, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact me. And if you enjoyed the video, leave me a thumbs up. And I shall look forward to showing you another card next time. Thanks for watching.